Snow spins outside my apartment window as I take off my hospital ID badge. The plastic taps against the kitchen counter. The smell of cinnamon and apples floats from the large bread pudding cooling on the stove. Christmas lights shine on my small tree, casting soft shadows over the neatly wrapped gifts under it. 12 hours on my feet in the elderly ward have left me completely tired. But a small smile forms on my face. This year will be different. This year, I'll be enough. My phone buzzes. Trevor's name shows up on the screen, and I press the speaker button while I hang up my winter coat. He speaks with that relaxed tone he always uses before sharing bad news. Got a minute? Just got back from my shift. I turn down the heat on the bread pudding, setting it to warm. Everything okay?
Yeah.
About Christmas. A pause. The kind that makes my stomach tighten. Marissa's coming this year.
Oh.
The spoon in my hand shakes a little. That's nice. I've been wanting to meet her. The thing is, she's a bit sensitive too. Trevor clears his throat. The air feels heavy. The spoon hits the counter with a small clatter. What? Maybe it's better if you don't come this time. My ears start to ring. My fingers grab the counter tightly. You're telling me not to come to Christmas? Our family Christmas? Every year. You just sit there so serious, barely say anything. His words come out quicker now. Mom says it ruins the mood. Marissa's new. I don't want her to feel weird. I look over at the suitcase sitting by my door. Packed for the visit I've been planning for months. I see. Don't be like that, Teresa. You know how the bread pudding smells sweet at first? Then it gets too strong. I turn off the heat completely. The way I get, I say each word like it's a careful cut. Yeah, you know, all doctor-like. Too intense. It's just, I have to go. I hang up. My hands are steady even though my chest is shaking. An hour passes while I clean up without thinking. When my phone rings again, Mom's name shows up. I think about not answering, but I do it anyway out of habit.
Mom.
Honey. Her voice is sweet in that fake way, like sugar over bitter medicine. Trevor said you're upset. Did he tell you why? We just think. She pauses, and I can hear her tone change. It's the voice she uses when she talks about Marissa Bright like she really admires her. A tone she's never used with me. It might cause problems if you come. We might not even open the door. I run my fingers along the edge of a neatly wrapped gift, a cashmere scarf. I worked 3 extra shifts just to afford it. You're really going through with this? Don't be so dramatic, dear. There's always next year. Maybe if you tried harder to be in the holiday spirit. Her words feel soft, but they hit me like a punch in the stomach. 20 years of being the other one. Too serious. Too quiet. Not fun enough. The thoughts hit me all at once. I think about my elderly patients, how their faces light up when I sit with them, how they thank me just for listening, for caring, for seeing them as people, not problems. I don't argue or beg. I open my banking app with a few taps, $1,200 monthly mortgage help for my parents, gone. A $6,000 loan for Trevor's art studio, canceled. $2,500 for Mom's knee surgery and rehab, stopped. No words, no reason. Just quiet button clicks. The kitchen table waits for me, covered in Christmas decorations that suddenly feel empty. Steam rises from my chamomile tea, glowing softly in the Christmas lights. I should cry, get angry. I should feel something more than this strange, floating feeling. A text lights up my phone. Merry Christmas early, honey. We'll figure this out next year. I put the phone face down and watch snow cover Boulder in silence. For the first time in years, I feel lighter. Empty, yes, but I feel lighter. The gifts can go to my elderly patients. The bread pudding will make the nurses' break rooms smell like home tomorrow. And me? I'll finally stop trying to buy my way into a family that never had a place for me. Have you ever noticed how the people who should love you the most don't really see who you are? What would you do if the family you always supported suddenly decided you're not good enough for their Christmas table? Snow covers Boulder on Christmas morning, making the world outside my apartment quiet. I look out the windows. The tree is dark, its lights unplugged. Ever since that phone call, the early sunlight hits the ice on the glass, making tiny rainbows appear on my living room walls. My scrubs make a soft sound as I put the last wrapped gift into the hallway closet. No reason to leave them out now. The soft wool of the cashmere scarf I bought for Mom brushes against my hand as I close the door. My phone buzzes with more messages from coworkers. Maria from Pediatrics invited me to her family dinner. Dr. Coleman left a voicemail about the staff get-together in the break room later. Even the night shift nurses sent a video of their potluck party. I clear the notifications and open the family group chat. My thumb pauses over the screen. Photos fill the feed. Trevor cutting the turkey. His sleeve rolled up, showing the tattoo I paid to remove 3 times. Mom's old china shining in the candlelight. The same set I helped her find, one piece at a time on eBay. Marissa is in the center of every photo, holding up her wine glass, her laugh seeming to echo through the screen. A message from Mom appears. "Merry Christmas, honey. We'll see you next year." Maybe. I slide the phone into my pocket and grab my hospital ID badge. Work feels more like home today, anyway. An hour later, I walk into the geriatric ward, welcomed by the familiar smell of disinfectant and the soft sounds of monitors beeping. Mrs. Chun waves from her bed as I walk past, her fingers bent from arthritis, holding a worn-out photo album. Mr. Rodriguez is sleeping in his chair, the TV quietly playing It's a Wonderful Life in Spanish. "Dr. Hartman," Agnes Miller says, grabbing my wrist as I fix her pillow. Her skin is paper-thin and cool. "You're the only family some of us have today." I gently squeeze her fingers. Then I know I'm right where I should be. The morning goes by quickly in a mix of little moments. Fixing blankets, listening to stories about Christmas mornings from 50 years ago, holding shaking hands during blood tests. The staff brings me coffee. It's dark and strong. They leave it outside patient rooms, knowing I'll see it. "You didn't have to work today, Lisa," the head nurse says as she gives me a patient chart. Thompson offered to cover. "This is better than being home alone." Her eyes soften. She understands. She's seen enough family situations here to know what's really going on. "Margaret Wilson in 412 asked for you," she says. Margaret is sitting up against her pillows, her silver hair neatly braided. A small Christmas cactus blooms on her windowsill. She pats the chair next to her bed. "You look like someone carrying a heavy weight today." My professional mask slips for just a moment. Margaret catches it. She never misses much. "Family isn't always blood." "Dr. Hartman." She adjusts her oxygen tube. "My son hasn't spoken to me in 30 years because I wouldn't give him money for another failed business venture." The hardest lesson is learning that blood doesn't always mean love. Across town, I imagine the scene in my parents' house. The dishes will be done by now. Trevor always times the cleanup to finish before the evening movie marathon. He'll be showing Marissa the photo wall, pointing out vacation snapshots and graduation portraits. That's when it happens at home during that time. That's Dr. Teresa Hartman. Marissa's voice rises in recognition as she stops at my medical school graduation photo. The room goes quiet. "She saved my grandmother's life." The silence stretches as she continues, wine glass forgotten in her hand. "My grandmother said she was the first doctor who made her feel like a person, not just a patient." Trevor shifts his weight. That nervous tale I've known since childhood. "Hey, who wants to watch White Christmas?" But Marissa's gaze lingers on the photo on the sister, who should be there. The questions form in her eyes as she looks around the room, noticing the empty chair. The careful way everyone avoids mentioning my name. Later, she'll corner Trevor in the kitchen. "Where is your sister? Why isn't she here?" He'll fumble through explanations about my intensity and Marissa's sensitivity. Each word will plant seeds of doubt. Realization the family's facade will crack just a little more. Days later, Marissa's social media post appears to Dr. Teresa Hartman, who saved my grandmother with exceptional care and compassion. "Thank you for your sacrifice working this Christmas. While others celebrate, you represent the best of healthcare." The post spreads through Boulder's tight-knit community art gallery. Patrons recognize Trevor's last name. Mom's Bridge Club whispers over their cards. Dad's golf buddies ask pointed questions about his doctor-daughter. The family's carefully built image starts to fall apart, one post at a time. A few days later, I'm back in the geriatric ward, holding Margaret's hand as she drifts off to sleep. The Christmas cactus drops a coral bloom onto her blanket. Outside the window, the sun sets behind the flatirons, casting the snow-covered peaks in shades of rose and gold. My phone stays quiet in my pocket. No more family photos. No more forced holiday cheer. Just the peaceful certainty that I'm exactly where I need to be, with people who see me, value me, and appreciate the gift of presence over presence. Sometimes strangers understand what family can't. Sometimes the kindness of patience heals the doctor. And sometimes Christmas miracles come not in shiny wrapping, but in the simple recognition of worth. Have you ever discovered someone's true value? Only after others pointed it out. What does it say about us when we value strangers' opinions more than the quiet dignity of those closest to us? Share your thoughts below. 2 weeks after the incident, snow blankets bolder and bitter white as my phone lights up for the 20th time this week. Trevor's name flashes on the screen, accompanied by a bank notification payment. Failed art studio loan. I delete his message without reading it, just like the others cluttering my inbox. Can you reach out to Marissa? Clear things up. Trevor is losing gallery connections. Your father's golf buddies are asking questions. The steady tick of my kitchen clock fills the silence as I sip chamomile tea, watching more snow gather on my balcony.
Herb's dead.
Now, like so many other things this winter, a formal letter arrives from my father, the heavyweight paper carrying his law firm's letterhead. The words swim before my eyes. Concerns about your increased working hours and signs of professional burnout. My fingers crease the paper's edge. At work that week, Susan from HR catches me between patient rounds. Dr. Hartman, your father called about arranging a mental health leave. She studies my face with careful concern. I told him all the requests need to come from the physician directly. I thank her, my voice steady. In my office, I open the bottom drawer and add his letter to a growing file labeled documentation. 8 years of canceled checks, loan agreements, and payment records nestled beneath it. My cousin Rachel sends a text with a yoga retreat voucher. By the way, if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Alright, let's get back to the story. If you're feeling overwhelmed, sweetheart, it's understandable. Everyone is concerned. The same cousin who borrowed $2,000 last spring and never brought it up again. In the next few days, more people express worry about my mental health, but I just ignore it and focus more on work. On Friday afternoon, there's an unexpected visitor. Marissa is standing in the hospital hallway, holding a bouquet of winter whites. Her designer boots make a clicking sound on the linoleum as she shifts her weight. I didn't know you weren't invited to Christmas, she says, with none of Trevor's usual charm. They talk about you like you're some distant relative. But my grandmother can't stop praising the doctor, who finally listened to her. I keep my professional distance, hands clasped behind my back. The flowers she's holding remind me of the decorations I bought for the family dinner I never went to. Trevor told me he supports your career. Marissa's mouth twists. He made it sound like he was the responsible older brother looking out for his kid sister. I paid for his art studio. The words fall like snow. Soft but cold. And their mortgage and mom's knee surgery. Marissa's fingers tighten on the bouquet stems. He never said all those dinners at expensive restaurants. The gallery openings. Her voice trails off as understanding dawns. They used your money to exclude you before I can respond. My pager buzzes. Mrs. Wilson in 302 needs attention. Excuse me, I murmur, already moving toward my patient. Some responsibilities matter more than others. Sunday afternoon brings heavy clouds and heavier footsteps outside my apartment. The knock echoes like a gavel. Strike through the people, I see them clustered in the hallway. Mom and her Goodwill coat. Dad gripping his leather portfolio. Trevor with a stack of papers I recognize as overdue notices. Teresa, honey. Mom's voice drips. Sweetness. We just want to talk. I opened the door exactly 3 inches and the security chain was drawn tight. The familiar scent of Mom's perfume tries to pull me back to childhood holidays, when I still believed trying harder would make them see me.
No.
The word comes out calm, like delivering a diagnosis. I start to close the door.
Wait.
Trevor thrust the overdue notices toward the gap. You can't just. The door clicks shut with quiet finality. I've been paying your bills for 8 years. My voice carries through the solid wood. Clear and measured. Years of calming, anxious patience has taught me the power of a steady tone. You've been taking my money and treating me like I'm a burden. Mom takes a sharp breath. That's not fair. Sweetheart, we've always… I won't keep funding my own exclusion. Silence hangs between us, like a flat line on a heart monitor. Dad clears his throat. This isn't like you, Teresa. A laugh escapes me, surprisingly light. I say through the door. What decades of silence have buried. You never really knew who I was. Their footsteps fade down the hallway, leaving only the sound of papers slipping under my door. Payment requests, guilt wrapped in legal terms. The cost they thought I should keep paying to fit in. I pick up the papers without reading them, add them to my file, and go back to reviewing patient charts. Outside my window, the snow has stopped falling. The late afternoon sun shines through, lighting up the white landscape with a surprising glow. My phone buzzes with a text from Mrs. Wilson's granddaughter. She says, "Thank you for sitting with Gran today. You made her feel heard." I gently touch the screen, a smile pulling at my lips. Some debts don't need to be repaid to be valuable. Some family is chosen, and some lightness only comes when you stop caring about other people's weights. The next day, the hospital corridor stretches ahead, shining under the fluorescent lights. I stop at the nurse's station, signing off on Mrs. Jensen's updated care plan. Sarah, one of our newer nurses, looks up from her computer. "Dr. Hartman, your parents stopped by earlier. I didn't know they lived in Boulder."
2.
My pen stills against the chart. They don't. The words come out quieter than intended. They needed something. Sarah's eyes widen slightly, but she says nothing. The silence fills with understanding. I never wanted to give. I focus on my signature, each letter precise and controlled. Down the hall, Mr. Garcia waves from his doorway. His thin face brightens as I approach. "Dr. Hartman, look what my grandchildren sent." He holds up a handmade card covered in glitter and wobbly letters. "They're coming to visit next week." I lean against his doorframe, smiling at his joy. Here, in these quiet moments with patients who value presence over performance, I find the belonging my family never offered. The morning passes in a familiar rhythm of rounds and consultations. During my lunch break, Beth from reception appears in the doctor's lounge holding a cream-colored envelope. "This came for you,"
she said.
"Sit beside my sandwich from a Marissa Wilson." My stomach tightens at the name. I open the envelope, carefully unfolding a single sheet of heavy stationery. "Dear Dr. Hartman, you didn't just save my grandmother's life last October. You made her feel alive again. The way she brightens up when talking about you. The doctor who listened, who remembered her stories about teaching in the 1960s, who treated her like a person, not just a problem to fix. The Teresa they talk about at family gatherings, and the doctor I met that day at the hospital. They're two different people. Or maybe they're the same person seen in completely different ways. I'm sorry they never saw what was right in front of them all these years. With thanks and regret. Marissa." The paper shook slightly in my hands. I read it 2 more times before standing up to grab the simple black frame from my desk. The letter slid in perfectly, edges aligned with careful precision. I placed it next to my medical school diploma. These 2 accounts show who I am when no one is trying to make me feel smaller. That afternoon, a local reporter interviewed me for a piece on elderly care. I talk about dignity and aging, about listening to patients, and sharing stories about honoring the lives behind each medical chart. The article is published the next week. My photo, along with quotes about compassionate care and patient advocacy, appears. My colleagues post it online. Comments pour in from families of former patients. "Dr. Hartman saved my father's spirit while saving his life. She gave my mother her voice back when others had stopped listening." A month later, the story spreads through Boulder's close-knit community. At his latest gallery opening, Trevor stands alone by his paintings. Our parents find their usual social circles suddenly busy with other commitments. Their carefully curated image of the perfect family splinters under the weight of whispered questions about the doctor-daughter they never mention. I didn't attend the opening. I'm volunteering at the Senior Community Center, helping Mr. Peterson compose an email to his estranged daughter. His gnarled fingers hover over the keyboard. 20 years. He shakes his head slowly. "Pride cost me 20 years with my child. Don't let it take that from you, Dr. Hartman." "This isn't pride," I answered softly. "This is knowing my worth." Later that night, an email arrives from my mother. The timestamp shows she's been writing and rewriting it for hours. Dearest Teresa, we miss you. Your father keeps saying the house feels empty without you dropping by with your bread pudding. We never wanted to hurt you. Can't we try again? Families should stick together. Also, could you please talk to Marissa about removing that social media post? Trevor is having trouble getting new galleries, and his career is on the line. Love, Mom. No mention of Christmas. No recognition of the 8 years of financial support. No understanding that families should stay together. It feels empty when they never made space for me at their table. I read the email twice and noticed the same old pattern. They only come to me in a crisis, but just to fix what's broken, never to fix what they broke in me. The email goes unanswered and is sent to the archive. Outside my window, spring snow falls. Dust covers the sidewalks. I think of Mr. Peterson, typing slowly to make up for 20 years of silence with Margaret Wilson, whose grandmother still remembers the doctor who listened. Of all the small kindnesses that build real connections, and all the grand gestures that never filled the hollow space where family should have been. My phone buzzes with a text from Elena, my mentor in geriatrics. Saw the article. You're changing lives here, Teresa. Proud to work alongside you. I touch the framed letter on my desk. Then my medical school diploma beside it. The snow falls silently, covering old tracks, leaving clean pages for news stories to unfold. Some say blood is thicker than water. But what happens when that blood runs thin with conditions, expectations, demands? What happens when family treats you like nothing until they need something? I've learned that walking away isn't always an ending. Sometimes it's the first step toward becoming who you were always meant to be. A month later, the sun reflects off fresh peach stacks at the Boulder Farmers Market. I adjust my canvas shopping bag, which holds local honey and summer tomatoes, as Dr. Elena Martinez talks to me about her grandson's first steps. The morning air carries the sense of kettle corn and fresh bread, blending with the sound of guitar music from a nearby street performer. A sudden silence from my colleagues interrupts our conversation. My back stiffens before I even see them. Some mornings don't need words. What a coincidence. Mother's voice rings out, bright as a new penny. She moves between the produce stands, with Dad trailing behind her like a shadow. Their presence feels out of place here, in my Saturday refuge. It's like finding a snake in your garden. Dad's eyes are fixed on my shopping bag. The last time he looked at me directly was 8 years ago, when I handed him the first mortgage check. Trevor stands back near a sunflower display, shoulders slumped, while a woman next to him carefully inspects organic kale, not paying attention to our family scene. We've been trying to reach you, honey, my mother says, stepping forward with her arms open for a hug. I refuse to return her perfume, the same one she's worn since 1985, its overpowering scent of earth and vegetables filling the air. Elena's hand brushes my elbow, a quiet signal. I'm here, I say. Your father's grilling next Sunday. Mother smooths out her linen blouse, a familiar gesture from countless family photos. We expect you at 6. It's not an invitation, it's a statement. The old Teresa would have nodded, would have arrived with a bottle of wine and a pained smile, eager to prove her value. Not anymore. The word drops between us like a stone in still water. Don't be difficult, Teresa. Mother's voice drops to a stage. Whisper. We're trying to make things right. Are you? The question comes out calm. Professional. The same tone I use discussing terminal diagnoses with families. When did you decide that? When Trevor's gallery connections dried up. When Dad's girlfriend started asking questions. That's not fair. Trevor steps forward, abandoning his sunflower sanctuary. This isn't the right place. You're right. I looked at him. The right place was Christmas, when you uninvited me because I was too serious for your girlfriend. Mom's fingers moved to her throat. Please, honey. The right place was when Dad called my hospital, saying I needed mental health help.
Leave.
Elena took a sharp breath. This was new to her. The right place was 8 years ago, when I started paying your mortgage. My voice echoed over the displays of organic honey and handmade soap. I funded Trevor's studio and paid for Mom's knee surgery. People turned to look. Whispers spread through the crowd. Mom's tears started, just like they always do. How could you embarrass us like this in public? I felt Elena move closer to my shoulder. 2 more colleagues appeared nearby. A quiet wall of white coats and scrubs, my chosen family, formed around me. I'm not embarrassing you. The truth is coming out. It's easy now, like clear water from a spring. I'm telling the truth. You couldn't make room for me at Christmas, but you had time to call my job and say I was unstable. You left me out of family photos, but you still cash my checks every month. This isn't like you, Dad says, his first words of the morning. You're making a scene? A laugh escapes me, surprising me with how light it feels. You never really knew me, Dad. You never even tried. What do you want from us? Trevor's voice breaks. It's the same crack I heard when he called about Christmas, but now there's fear in it. Fear of empty bank accounts and unpaid bills. Nothing. The word feels like freedom. I don't need to be invited back into a family that never valued me. I've found people who truly see me. I glance at my colleagues, those who trust my judgment and appreciate my quiet nature. That's what family should be. The sun warms my face as I turn away. Guitar music fills the air once more. A vendor calls out about fresh peaches. The market comes alive again. Reality rushes back, filling the space where our family's illusion finally fell apart. Elena falls into step beside me as I head toward the heirloom tomato stand. Her silence says everything, the kind of quiet support I never had at home. Behind us, I hear my mother's voice rising. Teresa Marie Hartman. Don't you dare walk away. But I'm already gone. My steps are light, my back straight. My heart beats steady and strong. The truth feels weightless. A year later, on Christmas Eve, snow drifts past my window, each flake catching the glow of white Christmas lights. The scent of apple cinnamon bread pudding wafts through my apartment, rich and sweet, mingling with fresh pine from the Douglas fir in the corner. Light reflects off vintage glass ornaments, casting warm shadows across framed photographs, moments captured with patients, colleagues, friends who became more. Marissa's letter sits on my mantel, framed in simple silver. Her words about my grandmother's care face outward, a daily reminder that sometimes strangers see us more clearly than family ever could. The gentle tap of knuckles against my front door breaks the quiet.
Come in.
I call, sliding another bread pudding into the oven. The door opens to familiar faces: Sarah from pediatrics, John from radiology, Elena from physical therapy. Their arms overflow with dishes and small gifts. Something smells amazing in here, Dr. Sarah says, setting down a crystal ball of cranberry sauce. Her holiday sweater sparkles with tiny lights, a holdover from the children's ward Christmas party. More colleagues filter in, filling my once quiet space with gentle chatter and laughter. A timer chimes and I pull out the bread pudding, golden brown and perfect. The ritual soothes me. This time I'm cooking for people who choose to be here. Teresa. A soft voice cuts through the noise. Margaret Wilson stands in my doorway, leaning on her walker, but stronger than last Christmas. Her silver hair catches the light, expertly styled for the occasion. You made it. I cross the room, taking her coat. The walker clicks against hardwood as she settles into the armchair I've saved specially for her. I wouldn't miss it. Margaret pats my hand, thinking. A year ago, I was lying in that hospital bed, sure it would be my last Christmas. And now look at you. She smiles, adjusting the red shawl on her shoulders. All thanks to the doctor, who treated me like a person, not just another patient. The doorbell rings again. I open it to find Jenny, a young nurse, shifting from foot to foot in the cold. Sorry I'm late. The drive from the night shift was slippery. You came straight from work? She nods, taking off her scarf. I wouldn't miss your Christmas gathering. After everything you did for me with my parents. Her voice trails off, but I get it. We all gather around my dining table, the mismatched chairs squeezed together. Stories flow between bites of turkey and spoonfuls of bread pudding. Margaret shares tales from her nursing days in the 1960s. Elena describes her grandmother's secret to Marley recipe. Jenny talks about learning to build her own traditions after walking away from toxic family patterns. Sometimes I wonder, Jenny admits, pushing cranberries around her plate. If I did the right thing setting those boundaries, the table goes quiet. They all know pieces of my story now whispered in break rooms are shared over late-night coffee. Sometimes the family we choose understands us better than the family we're born into. I say this from a place of peace, not pain. That's what I've learned this year. A knock at the door interrupts the quiet agreement. Margaret's eyes shine with something, a knowing look, as I stand to answer. Her granddaughter is on my doorstep, cheeks pink from the cold. I brought someone who wanted to meet you, she says, stepping aside to reveal Marissa, holding a small gift wrapped in silver paper. I hope it's okay, Marissa adds. I've been wanting to thank you properly for everything with Gran. The silence between us grows, full of unspoken understanding. Then I step back, opening the door wider. There's plenty of bread pudding. Marissa joins our group, as if she's always been a part of it. When she talks about her recent breakup with Trevor, no one offers meaningless words. These people know that sometimes leaving is an act of self-respect. Your grandmother asks about you. She tells me later, while others chat over coffee and dessert. She says that you saved more than her life that day in the hospital. You showed her what true strength is. I think about the brother who never made space for me at his table and the parents who took my help but never gave their acceptance. A text flashes on my phone. Merry Christmas. We miss you. From Mom. No strings attached this time. No hidden demands for money or reconciliation. I put the phone down without replying. Turning back to the warm circle of my chosen family, Margaret starts another story about her nursing days, her hands painting pictures in the air. Jenny leans forward, fascinated. Sarah shares her own hospital stories, while John groans at the medical jokes. These people see the math, the quiet strength, the dedication, and the heart beneath the professional surface. They don't need me to be louder, lighter, or different. They pull up chairs to my table, bring dishes to share, and understand that family means making space for who someone really is. I used to think love meant being the one who stayed late, fixed everything, and never needed thanks. But true love doesn't make you beg for a spot at the table, and a family that only values you for what you give was never family in the first place. Looking around my living room, seeing the faces glowing under the Christmas lights and filled with warmth from our connection, I finally get it. Sometimes, the hardest thing for self-respect is knowing when to walk away and when to start fresh, to build something real. The snow keeps falling outside my window, each flake drifting down its own way. Inside, laughter echoes off the walls, and the smell of cinnamon and apples surrounds us like a promise. I've finally found my way home,